Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
And welcome to Kerry M. Tice, his show today, his beautiful studio as well from Sarasota, Florida. Welcome back today, CircuSoul Yoga. How's it going?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you. How are you?
Great. Thank you so much. For those of you listening, we're on a live Zoom as well. So I get to see how beautiful the background is and he's sitting amongst these silks. Do I call them silks?
Silks are yoga hammocks.
Great.
But the fabric, a lot of people, they refer to it as silk.
Perfect. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself and your practice. And obviously we'll have another great conversation today.
Absolutely. I'm Kerry Tice, and I'm the owner and director here at CircuSoul Yoga. We are a full functioning yoga studio and yoga teacher training facility, but our specialty is aerial yoga. I've been doing circus for about 22 years and have combined my decade of experience in yoga and created a unique program called Flying Yoga.
Well, we're excited to have you here. And just tell us the website again so people can reach out to you before we begin our discussion.
Yeah, you can reach us at our website at CircuSoul, which is circusoul.com. You can also give us a call at 941-922-9642.
Now, let's see here, because I'm sorry, my Wi-Fi is not working and I lost your notes. We were talking about training, right?
Yes.
Yoga training. Give me a second while I get my Wi-Fi back. Would you mind starting off the show? Go ahead.
Absolutely. So what we're talking about today is yoga teacher training.
Yes.
So what is yoga teacher training? And what really it is it's not just for people who want to go and become yoga teachers. That's definitely, obviously in the name. But I think that we've kind of misnamed the program in general. It should be called yoga teacher immersion, or I'm sorry, not even yoga teacher, yoga training immersion, or yoga diving deeper, right? It should be something that's not yoga teacher training. However, that's kind of the kind of the name and the branding internationally is yoga teacher training. And of course, people who are looking to, make a career out of this, to dive into yoga are absolutely there. But a huge demographic of people who take yoga teacher training really don't have a particular interest in teaching yoga. But what they've realized is that they love yoga. They're kind of like, borderline obsessed with yoga. And when they come to class, they love it so much that they're not really kind of getting enough of it. Like 1 hour a day is not quite, fulfilling the itch anymore. And that's really what yoga teacher training is designed for, is for those students who are ready to dive deeper, who are ready to take a deeper look, not just at yoga, but at themselves.
Wow. Well, thank you for being here and for sharing this. And as far as the training itself, that is something that you do, correct? And you do that virtually and in studio as well, or does it all have to be in person? So, and is it just for people who want to become teachers, or just really those that want to really immerse themselves?
Yeah, so we have different formats. Of course, with the pandemic, we've kind of opened up with an option for people to do virtually. So those classes are done, are pre-recorded. You would go through that training at your own pace, and then we would either meet in person or through Zoom to complete the other requirements for the training. But the most people, they come to yoga teacher training. And a big part of yoga teacher training, outside of the information that we're learning, are the people that are there. Like it is the tribe of people who also arrive, because these people are more like you than you would, think. They have so many different similarities. Our path as a human is really more universal than, we like to say it is. And the issues and the problems and the things that come up in our life are pretty universal, right? We're not as unique in that way as we might think. Our problems aren't, right? It's a problem. Everybody's been having problems, all kinds of things forever. And what yoga is there to do is to give us a system to be able to look through our emotions, to look through the contents of the mind, and to start diving deeper into having a stronger relationship with ourselves spiritually, mentally, and most importantly, physically. This yoga teacher training, it's a physical activity for sure. We don't do 20 hours of yoga for the weekend. we do a mix, so in a 20-hour weekend, which is what a lot of people do, is they come to a weekend format, which would be about 10 weekends in most places. And usually that's done over a 6 to 10 month period. So you're meeting about once or maybe twice a month. So it is a big commitment, RYT 200, it's 200 hours of contact hours. So that means that's an actual time in with your instructor, which is so valuable, having that extra time to be able to ask those questions, to be able to dive deeper. We cover just a plethora of information in yoga teacher training. On a weekend, we'd usually come in on a Friday night and have like a 3-hour lecture or a 3-hour kind of discussion. And most of the times that Friday evening is about yoga philosophy, is about lifestyle, is about ethics, is about all those things that make up the yoga tradition, the yoga practice, and kind of make yoga what yoga is. So we don't just put it out there, we really kind of dive into the minutia of it. And these principles, they're ancient principles, right? That yoga has been around for many, many years. But one of the things that's kind of unique with our teachers is that we work on taking this ancient prescription and turning it into a modern day fit, right? We actually are able to utilize this for the stresses that are happening in today's society, right? With anxiety, with depression, with all the things that are happening, we actually have a kind of a prescription for that. And that's one of the things that we get to dive deeper on in a weekend, where in a hour-long yoga class, you're going to see kind of a similar thing. You're going to move through some yoga. You might have a few moments where you get to talk about a few of these things, the teacher, but it's not a two-way discussion. It's usually the teacher, giving that information to you. So there's no chance except outside of class, maybe before or afterwards, to kind of chat with your teacher. And in a weekend, we would actually get together in a circle or in a class discussion, and we'd actually talk about this stuff. And we'd be able to answer questions, but more importantly, to be able to share and discuss kind of our own personal truths and the information that gets stirred up as we go through the weekend.
Got it. So what types of formats specifically are there? I mean, clearly there's a few different ones, but I like this approach of, we have more time. But someone like me coming in, what would you do with someone, like me? What type of format?
So we have different formats, and these are kind of pretty typical across the nation. One of the formats, which we actually are going to be launching in 2022, those dates are coming, is on location, is like a retreat style yoga teacher training. So as soon as Thailand opens up, and we're working on a location in Costa Rica, we'll actually go there and you'll spend 21 days immersed, long days, right? Where we'll be studying yoga all day long. And you'll have some time in the evening for downtime or study, that kind of thing. So that's one of the styles that we're going to be launching very soon. And I'm actually super excited about that because I'll get to spend 3 weeks in those locations.
That's exciting.
Right, a really hard part of my job.
Yeah.
And then, so that's an immersion type style. The next style, which is what we've done more of, is that weekend only format where we meet Friday night, 6 to 9, and then on the weekend, usually 9 to 6. So it's a full weekend. So we usually do about 20 hours on a weekend, and that'll be a mix of lecture, philosophy, studying, actually practicing yoga, as well as teaching. So that's the format, at least at our studio, that's been most popular over the years. And I think that is because it isn't all so much at one time. And usually most people can give up one weekend a month, for some time. It might be difficult to say, give up every weekend, for the next several months, but say once or twice a week or twice a month to be able to give up a weekend. And then you realize that you're not really giving up a weekend. You're really getting a whole slew of information and transformation.
Bettering your weekend.
You're bettering your weekend.
I mean, say if that's a word, bettering, but yeah, you know what I mean.
For sure. You really are. You're taking that time for yourself. And what I've always say is that yoga teacher training is like a personal development course disguised as yoga training, because you really do. Every module is starting to pick away at some of the beliefs that you thought that were yours and oftentimes weren't, right? They were passed down from your family. And we realize that oftentimes we don't align with those things anymore. And so like, that's a big part of yoga teacher, and it is like shedding away our tribal energy and our tribal obligations, because so much of what we think is our own stuff, it's not even our own, right? And we work on unpackaging that, and really diving into that stuff in yoga teacher training, mostly because we have the time and people need it, right? We need to kind of go through that and realize, oh, she's having that same kind of thing I'm going on. And although her story is a little bit different, it's the same thing. And we come together realizing that we're part of this greater community, this bigger tribe, and realizing that we're a spiritual being, having a human experience. And that is such a gift to realize, because we realize we're more than the mind, we're more than the emotions, we're more than this day-to-day minutia of going to your job, of doing all the tasks, the laundry, the things that need to be done for the children, right? There are so many things, and we get caught up in these things thinking like, this is what I am. And we are so much more than laundry, right? We are so much more than grief, right? We are so much more than anxiety. When we have a name, but that name is that's all it really is. It's not who we are. And that's one of the things we start to really start to understand. And it takes some time. And that's why, having yoga teacher training over 6 to 10 months gives you the time in between to kind of process your stuff, right? You've got baggage you got to let go of. You got, things that come up. And so oftentimes people's outside life starts to kind of get reorganized a little bit.
Great. Now, can we talk a little bit about alignment-based yoga compared to yoga in general, what that actually means?
Yeah, I always kind of joke about alignment yogis, that alignment yogis are kind of, we're so anal retentive. We don't just tell you what to do, we tell you how to do it. And so the main difference between alignment yoga and other forms of yoga is cueing versus giving actions, right? So in most forms of yoga, probably the yoga you've taken, is that they give you cues. They tell you to step the right foot forward, to move through chaturanga, to come into warrior two, but they don't tell you that the right foot should step forward and the toes should spread, the heels should spread, the arch should lift, right? We tell you exactly what each part of the body should be doing, which is totally maddening, right? But also totally really exciting for someone who is really detail oriented or has had injuries in their past, or really who just really wants to be able to create the most strong foundation in their body. Alignment yoga is really that way, because we're going to build from the bottom. Just like if you were going to build a skyscraper or an amazing house, you don't build the top floor first. So we would build the feet, right? We would build the foundation, the basement, right? We got to pour the concrete before we start putting up the walls and the doors and all of that stuff. So, alignment yoga is very much like building a house, in that we start at the foundation and we start building our way up. So the first weekend, it's all about the feet, right? So we spend our whole weekend learning about how to spread the toes, what the feet do, and exactly how to do that in each of the different postures that we do for the weekend. So, weekend one, we're getting into feet. We're going to talk about the anatomy of the feet. We're also going to talk about the energetic of what the feet mean, our foundation, our life, right? Our planet, all of those things. And then we build our way up. So then the second weekend is about the upper leg, right? From the knee to the thigh, what it does. We actually spend 2 weekends on that, because it does quite a bit.
Wow.
And then we work up into the hip. We spend a whole weekend on what the hip does. How does the hip move? And then from there, you've got this foundation. You've got 3 or 4 weekends that we've spent 20 hours per weekend talking about each of these things. So before you even get to the torso, right, you've already got this foundation of what to do in your practice and in your life. And then we start to build up the torso, working into back bends, into side bends, into twists. And then we get into the shoulders and upper body. So it's a process, it takes some time. to kind of go through that much information, but it takes a lot of time for that much information to get processed into the body. Right? The body takes a quick minute to kind of absorb all of that, because it's not just like academic information, it's also kinesthetic information, it's body awareness information. It's starting to become really aware of this vessel that we live in, far beyond what we probably had before. We kind of tune you into more fine-tuned athletes through the yoga practice.
And how would you say you at CircuSoul are doing this? Not to put anyone else down, but what makes you guys really the best at your craft? I mean, clearly I know you personally now, and your experience and your knowledge is overwhelming. I'm surprised you don't have a PhD in medicine or biology as well. After our great conversation about fascia, but really, you have a lot to offer. I know that, but what would you say really sets you all aside?
The biggest part of what we offer is there's a couple things. The first part is probably the most important part. We're coming from the heart, right? We're coming from this space of, outside of getting kind of hokey and cliche, but it comes from the heart. And these things are not just coming from what we're thinking, it's coming from a place of where we're living. And so when we're sharing this information with you, it's something that's personally affected us so much. Like the trainers here at the studio, yoga has changed our life, right? It has truly become something that is a huge part of our life. And we just feel so really just obligated to share something that is so important in our lives, to be able to share that with other people. And through sharing it through the heart, one of the biggest things that we're able to do is we have a professional level training program. And that's kind of what sets us apart. It sets us apart from probably 99% of other trainings out there. There are definitely other trainings that are professional level, but let's just say that they are definitely fewer and farther between. Our trainings are not just going to give you the knowledge to understand what yoga is. We're going to do that. We're going to dive into the philosophy. We're going to dive into all of that stuff that's so important, but we're going to also give you the skills to become a yoga instructor. We actually go through the teaching methodology, the skills, the working the voice, putting classes together. We actually make you teach. Right. And that's what makes the difference, is that when you graduate from our program, you're going to go out there and have the skills to go into the workforce, while other people who might have taken a training at the same time as you, they're going to be still sitting on the sidelines wondering when it's their time.
Got it. Speaking of when it's their time, the skeleton behind you, I think it's his time, but I love your decorations, by the way. And I love your shirt. I have to point out, is that like you in yoga pose and then like tree limbs and branches? What is that?
Yes. So it's got the tree coming out from the head. It's like a meditation. This is actually a brand from Thailand.
Is it?
Yeah.
That is so cool.
I've been getting stuff from Thailand for years. And then I finally went a couple of years ago and realized this is actually kind of like a Billabong, or, it's a fairly big brand there. So I love being able to share anything that's from Thailand.
And just curious, did you pick out that background? Did you have a friend like spray paint that your wall? I mean,
it's a huge mural. So it's about 35 feet wide. And we're at about 8.5 feet tall, maybe 9 feet tall. So it's actually the chakras. You can only see part of it because we're kind of zoomed in, but it starts over with the red chakra, which is the base chakra, and then works its way all the way over to the other side, which is indigo. We actually worked on this together. One of our teachers here, her name is Kerry. She's an artist, and we worked together finding wings that we really liked. And so that's what we started with. We just had the wings. And then I was like, no, we need something more, right? And so together with my ideas and her skill, we ended up with this amazing mural, and it makes me happy every time I come in here. Right.
It is the best backdrop. And then I love how you perfectly coordinated the colors with the silks, the yellow color covering the indigo, the yellow on the other side with the purple. It's gorgeous. Okay.
Thank you.
No, it really is. It's beautiful. Now, when are these training programs in process? Are there any coming up, or how does it work if you want to start training with you?
Yeah, so our next training actually begins October the 5th. So it is right around the corner. For those people that are looking to join in, we have some space available and we'd love to have you. We also began another training, the weekday evening format, which I kind of got off topic and forgot to mention. It's a training that only meets 2 days a week in the evenings for 3.5 hours.
Okay.
So that training begins in January. And then our next training after that, it begins in March. But we are working on the calendar for 2022. We have not released that immersion style, the retreat style one yet. I am working on finalizing those details, so that should be out shortly.
Awesome. Good to know. And what else would you like to share about CircuSoul Yoga for those out there who may be new listeners today? Some of the other benefits of what you offer.
Absolutely. So many times people think, are kind of worried or self-conscious about going to yoga. And for you, I tell you to get over yourself, right? Get over it now, because really no one cares that is in that room. They are so into their own thing that's going on, like they're not looking to see what you're doing. They're not thinking you're doing a bad job, right? They're not wondering if you shouldn't be there. These are all the things, of course, that people think, but we really create a kind of a monster or a mountain out of a molehill when it comes to yoga. And my biggest advice to anyone is go to class, right? Go check it out. Go find a free class, a donation class, a class on the beach, something. If you've never done yoga, I'm asking you, like, why, right? Why not?
I would love to find out, your workshops, your virtual classes. So there's people watching, listening from all over the place. And these are things that they also may not know, but we can actually tune into you live. You have live classes, tape classes. How else can we, find you? Tell us what's offering on your website.
Absolutely. If you go to CircuSoul.com, you can check out, we have virtual classes, at least 1 or 2 every day. And those are actually live stream classes. You tune in through Zoom. Those classes are also live. So whether or not you're taking that class with us in person, we live stream that actual class. So it's like you're in class with people, because there are people there that are physically taking the class. And then there's people who are taking the class at home live stream. And then some people who can't tune in at that time, we send the recording to. So we have kind of like an on-demand situation there. And we also offer a huge library of yoga classes for only $13 a month. You can tune in and take all of the saved classes that we have, and they're all with me. And there's literally hundreds of them, right? I've been recording my classes for years.
Yeah.
And so I have quite an archive of things. And
are these all available on the app? You have your own app too, right?
We have our own app, but the app is more for signing up for the live stream and the other classes. But we have another kind of way to get through those classes. It's called Marvelous. It's a studio-based software that allows us to do those on-demand classes.
Perfect. And Facebook, Twitter, social media, Instagram, your handle is CircuSoul?
We're CircuSoul Yoga on most of those, but our website is CircuSoul.com. It's CircusOul.com. And there you can check out all of our upcoming teacher trainings, which we're always got a lot of stuff coming up, and our upcoming yoga retreats.
Wait, is it Mexico, Italy?
Yeah,
what's on
we are 68 days away from going to Mexico again. So we'll be in Puerto Vallarta. The yoga retreat center actually has 6 yoga studios on location. One of them is aerial. So we'll be doing aerial yoga every day. And they also have a hot yoga studio. So between the hot yoga in the morning and the aerial yoga in the evening, and we also have a whale excursion. So that's what I'm super excited about in January.
Cool.
I'm excited about it all, but I'm like,
now, did you go to Italy already? Or I saw Italy on the website. Is that something you're doing or have you done?
It's something we're going to do. We're still waiting with the COVID restrictions and the travel to Europe. That's one of the places that it's secured. We already have all the details situated, but we're waiting for kind of things to be a complete green light. I don't want to get anything scheduled and then realize that, Italy has changed their travel requirements.
Yeah.
And that's one of the big reasons we're going to Mexico. They haven't changed their travel requirements since the beginning of kind of all this started. Things haven't changed. So we kind of have a little bit more of a secure situation going over there. But we'll be also going to Costa Rica next year. And as soon as Thailand opens, I'm really looking forward to hopefully November 2022 for Thailand.
Great. And by the way, Italy, is that like Tuscany, like wine country?
Yes. So
are you allowed to have alcoholic beverage on these yoga retreats or not?
Absolutely. Yeah. We're yeah. So you can get some local Italian wine. And I'm super excited for Italy, not just for the beautiful mountainscapes, but for the food.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. It is amazing. But you brought me back. So, and for the retreats, people can sign up online for the Mexico one still. Is there still availability?
Yes, we have some availability. We have basically one type of room left on the Mexico retreat that's filling up quickly.
Okay.
So if you want to come with a friend or a spouse or your sibling or your child, it's going to be such a special time. It's a 7-day retreat. Every day we're doing yoga. And we do some special excursions. It was such a special treat. I just got back, went in September, and the group was just amazing, right? The place was out of this world, but the group was amazing, and that just made it that much better.
Great. Well, thank you for being here today. As always, CircuSoul.com. Is that the best form of contact, Kerry?
Yes, you can always go to our website and you can give us a call at 941-922-9642.
Great. Thank you for your time. And thank you to all of our listeners.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, I mean, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.